Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk animated shows here and in movies, especially Miraculous Ladybug and the Owl House. Find everything about us at overlyanimated.com. I'm your main host, Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined once again by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
And Alex Bonilla.
Ribbit.
Ribbit.
Ribbit, jump on in it.
Did they say that?
Yeah, it was a curse song, but yeah, they do it.
Okay, Ribbit, jump on it. This is part 2 of our big combined Owl House Amphibia rankings podcast. The first one went long, so we're separating it into a separate podcast. If you want to hear the full setup to our ranking episode list, you can listen to the Owl House Top 10 Episodes podcast. The beginning there, I'll go into more detail on the criteria. I'll mention again the importance ones here, but we're talking about our top 10 Amphibia episodes. We're going to go through each of our episodes 10 to 1. Very exciting here because we got some Amphibia experts and then me, and we'll see how this plays out in our top 10
An
list.
Amphibia casual.
Yes, I'm a self-proclaimed casual.
You
Yes.
watched the whole thing? That's not very casual. I think that counts.
Yeah, I mean, this is a contentious point. Like, to me, if you're going to say you're a fan of something, at least watch every episode, right? Like, I think that's...
Yeah.
So does that mean you're past casualness once you've done that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I'd still consider somebody like a Steven Universe fan if they skipped the Uncle Grandpa episode.
Yeah, Steven Universe is kind of an exception. But no, I mean, at the very least, I've been like observing fandom stuff, so I think I'm a little past casual for Amphibia, right? So, and we underrate how many people are online. Like most people don't even look online about shows. I think so.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway,
if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a fan.
Yeah, I think so.
And online.
We were getting into spoilers for all of Amphibia here. The show has been finished, and we'll be talking about our top 10 episodes from all 3 seasons, combined. Yes, there will be all considered in one. Once again, check out the beginning of the Owl House podcast, but we are going to get into it here and check out overlyanimated.com for some past Amphibia podcasts by Alex, Michelle, and Ali. So, the important thing to note for Amphibia is that Amphibia has those 2 11-minute segments combined for episodes. We are considering those separately. So, there's 2 Amphibia episodes that air every new slot. It's always kind of confusing the way to say this. We had this problem with Star as well. But Anne or Beast is separate from Best Franz. There you go. I'm sure those are 2 heavy consideration episodes for our lists. But also every finale episode is separate. So and if it has a name, it's a separate episode. Amphibia, there are many, many more episodes to consider than the Owl House, right? I believe over 100,
Yes.
100 something, so... It's a lot. So it's different segments. Some people call them segments. And again, this is just our personal lists. It could be best. It could be favorite. It's just for fun. So let's get into let's go back to this first question. What was the criteria that you did? And what was your process? And then if you want to get into any honorable mentions. So Michelle, walk us through this.
I'm still thinking about a dumb joke in my head when you're like, the important thing about Amphibia is, I was going to say, it's about frogs. It's a frog show. That's the important thing you got to remember.
You got to brace yourself when you're watching it for the first time, yeah.
I mean, it is very much an amphibian aesthetic, but the talking frogs is pretty, that was a choice that was made. It was a bold choice. My criteria for this was like, what do I love? What can I not compromise? And I don't care how objectively important it was to the story or who the characters are. Just how much did I love it and what did it matter to me? That was the only criteria. And again, I didn't rewatch any of these, so it's really hard to remember sometimes exactly what happened. But I remember the gist of it. So that's all you need when you're making a list, right? When you're a super fan.
I'm sure you guys have a pretty good Amphibia knowledge. Maybe some of the weeds of season 1, not top of mind at the moment.
Well, season 1's the best season, so you think again. It's season 3 is where I forget things.
See how this is reflected.
Is this a what, can you give us your season ranking, Michelle, of Amphibia?
Season 1 then is the best, and then season 2 is second best, and then season 3 is third best. There you go, bam.
Wow, this is the knowledge I'm missing from the experts. See, I have the exact opposite list, so I guess I'm just a casual.
Insane. Are you okay?
I'm like, I kind of think that I would go 2-1-3.
Interesting.
Okay,
you
look,
also
I'll
put
provide the season
cast.
3 love then. I'll do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we'll get through this in our list, but yeah, like season 3, I think is kind of divisive in the Amphibia fandom.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I think you guys are going to be interested in some of my season 3 picks. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, Michelle, are you going to do honorable mentions now or later?
Oh, I'll do them now.
Oh,
There's
man.
a lot more than. Well, first one, and Theft Auto, season 1, episode 5. Bessie episode. Hello.
Yeah, is this
like,
your top
yes,
10 Bessie episodes?
Bessie
Let's just run this back
Bessie
then.
like when she's reading the book and she's just like I don't even remember because it's been so long since that aired, but like she's crying. She's just like, yeah, hop up, yeah, Bessie. Like she gets it. There's a pass there. You must treat your snail with respect. It's not just a car. It's a member of the family. Plus, that episode gave us like a top 3 hop pop quotable moment. I don't feel safe. It's worth
That's
it,
true.
honestly, just for that. But that's not the only reason it's great. But honorable mention and Theft Auto, and then Taking Charge, which is season 1, episode 4, part A, I think, or B, I forget. But Taking Charge is the one where Anne gets everyone hooked on Suspicion Island, and the Hot Pot acts like, I don't think Suspicion Island is and then he sneaks back in the night and like watches it so much he kills Anne's battery and then lies about it to their face. And then he's like really guilty about it, so he goes on this quest with them to recharge Anne's phone. And he gets electrocuted a bunch by the bugs, and he confesses his sins. And Anne, being the gracious teen that she is, forgives him. And I love it. I love they're hooked on this trashy TV show. I love that Hop Pop like is in this. He's like trying so hard to be that cool grandpa, but like no, he loves it, and he did a bad. And he owns it, and it's amazing. Also, I remember distinctly that Steve Wolfhard storyboarded on this episode, and he draws Hop Pop so good. So that was bonus points. I'm going to try to go through these fast. Snow Day from season 1, episode 14. I just remember that I loved that, like, Anne's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to keep you all from getting killed in the winter. Like, that always happens. But then she gets bored, so she freaking wakes Sprig up, and he's, like, really tired because he's supposed to, like, I don't know, hibernate, and he's, like, kind of loopy, and that's amazing. Wally and Anne, season 1, episode 15. It's a great bonding episode. Like, Anne being worried people think she's weird like Wally, and then realizing Wally's the best, and they see the Moss Man thing. I feel bad. I can't remember his name. I hope it's Moss Man.
I think it's Moss Man, yeah.
Moss Man! And they see it, and it's like, no, we don't even need a picture. Like, we know it's real. Who cares what other people think? Solidarity. Like, it's very good and heartwarming and touching, and Wally's actually a great character. And then there's 3 more. I'm so sorry. The family fishing trip episode from season 1. That's the one where Sprig gets really jealous that Hop Pop has like a girlfriend. He's like, fishing's like our thing. Who's this lady on our fishing trip? And then he like almost lets her get killed. And he has this amazing song he sings. I need to know who made it because it's the best song ever. Like it sings about how he's like a baby frog. And he wants to fish with his Hop Pop, and now he's sad. He's the baby frog who's sad because he can't do that anymore. And I know that doesn't sound that exciting, but it's a very good episode. And it just has like really amazing weird humor. Season 1 is full of like amazing weird humor, and it that continues in later seasons, but it's not as much all at once as it just is like episode after episode in season 1. Last 2, The Planners Check In, which is a season 2 episode.
We're into season 2 now.
Yeah, that's the one where like they get the credit card, right? The royal credit card from King Andreas to do whatever, and Sprig can't sleep. So he goes down to the hotel, mall, whatever it is, and he gets all the coffee and goes insane. And he thinks he's going really fast, but actually he just looks like a lunatic, and everyone's like, what? And there's that like really put upon bellhop hotel lady.
Kirsten Shaw.
Yes. And she's amazing. You really feel for her. Like she's such like a gig economy, just like mood millennial. Amazing episode. And the last one, honorable mentions, is Bessie Michelangelo, season 2, episode 18. I can't believe they gave it to us. I never imagined Michelangelo was going to come back. And like the entire episode is like everything I could have ever dreamed of for Snails and for Bessie. And just, it's so silly, but it's so good. And at the end, she's the picture of her with her family. And then she has a little Michelangelo in there, and it's so cute. So that's the list. It's a lot, but they're worth mentioning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna actually be top 10 Hot Pop episodes now that I think about it.
God, I wish.
Yeah, let's see how many feature Hot Pop significantly. We'll count. Okay. And then, so there's Michelle's honorable mentions, and we will at some point in there was the process, but that was before all the season 1 episodes. Alex, what is your methods here and any honorable mentions?
I'm gonna save my honorable mentions for as we go through them as we go through the rankings. But just in terms of criteria, if you listen to the Owl House podcast, a similar breakdown where I like went through the episodes, had like a top 25-ish, and made that cut there, and then rewatch some of the ones that are on the edge to try to move things around. But this one definitely felt a lot tougher than Owl House, just because like Owl House feels a lot more consistent in tone, whereas like Amphibia, the seasons, like we alluded to in the season discussion, right? Like season 1 is like so focused on humor and comedy and is really good at that. And then like season 2 and season 3 are like doing more with story stuff and character stuff, and like trying to like compare the two is felt at times like comparing apples and oranges. Like they're both really juicy, but also like I trying to see which one is better or more fun is hard. It felt I had a lot more conflict doing this one than I did doing Owl House. And I feel like of the 25 that I picked, like I think all of them could make an argument to enter my top 10 depending on my mood. So this one I feel a lot less beholden to. I'm interested to see how it shakes down compared to the list of you two.
Okay. Yeah, I realized we didn't do number 10, but that's okay. We can go back around for number 10. But yeah, I mean, the big thing here compared to, in terms of ranking at least, is they're very different shows. I know we talk about them similarly, but I wouldn't want to rank them together or anything like that compared to Owl House. But there's just so many more episodes here. I didn't try to go through everyone. I'm already, as Michelle's going through a lot of episodes, I'm already like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So I think there's going to be a lot of that for me. I just added an honorable mention because I forgot it existed. So this isn't super exhaustive. For me, Amphibia, I don't know if this is representative of the casual opinion, but Amphibia has such a high top whatever you want to put the cut up. Like the elite episodes of Amphibia are so good that like they have to be at the top of my list. So I don't think that'll be true of both of your lists. I'm sure Michelle will make some weirder picks. That would be great. But like
we shall see.
Amphibia is just such good elite episodes. So to a certain extent, it's easy because I just autofilled them. I mean, I had to consider the order and stuff, but then it's like the second half of the list. That's where the more fun picks come in for me. So I tried to put some different ones that I feel like I enjoyed more than what I've seen, but we will see. I think the first ones you'll hear from me will be interesting, but then maybe some chalk. Okay, Michelle, what is? I didn't say honorable mentions. Okay, my honorable mentions are I only did because I didn't go through every single one. Originally, I only had Marcy at the Gates as my one honorable mention. It deserves the top 10. But I wanted to highlight some other ones at the end. This is, I think, the first amazing Marcy episode. I definitely loved her in season 2. I don't remember everything that happened, but I only rewatched like 1 or 2 from my top 10 just to remember so I could defend them. But Marcy at the Gates, I think, is one of the best ones I remember. And then I just added Wax Museum to my honorable mentions because I forgot we had the Gravity Falls thing.
It's a crazy one.
I had to throw this in. I remember, I think this was, I mean, I'm a Gravity Falls stan, so I'm biased, but everything with the curator, I thought it was like at the time, the funniest episode for me. I love everything that's happening here. So I added in Wax Museum. That's my own bench, but that's it. But I'm sure I'll remember other ones as we go along. That doesn't mean there's not other amazing ones. It's just there's so many. So I had to limit. Okay, Michelle, what is your number 10?
My number 10 is the season 1, episode 3, Stakeout.
Cool.
It's cool. Yeah, that's the reaction I was hoping for. It's where Anne and Hop Pop are fighting a lot. And then, like, Sprig, I think, tries... Again, it's been maybe 2 years since I've seen it, but from what I remember, Sprig tries to get them to bond, and then they... Oh, it's getting serious outside.
Oh, we hear that, yeah.
Yeah, dun-dun-dun, Stakeout!
Is there storming and Stakeout?
Yeah, it's the storming Stakeout here. they share like if Hot Pot gives Anne like some freaking like janky ass like moonshine he made, and Anne gives him like a creepy monster sports drink, and they start tripping balls and hallucinating, and they mistake either a scarecrow or a Sprig as like an enemy wizard, and they try to shoot magic at him, and it's so great because they're so high and so like insane, but they're bonding during it, so it is still a bonding episode for them, and it's just such a funny concept. The execution's amazing, and it's a really fun, like, it gives you like the energy of that season you can come to expect and treasure very early on, and it's fantastic. So I think it deserves to be on the list as my number 10.
Okay. I'm sure this will be the first of many I have no memory of, but this will be a good list of ones for me to check back on, you know?
I think you're going to know most of them, honestly.
The moment where, like, Sprig and Polly are just watching them, like, be loopy, it's like, what is going on?
If they can't do anything, they're just like, oh, you must be immune to magic. That's it. That's why it's not working on him. It's so good.
Nice. Okay. Alex, your number 10.
So number 10 is where I put Marcy at the Gates. Like,
nice.
That's fair, yeah.
Well, I was debating like leaving it off, but like also it just felt kind of wrong to leave it off entirely. Like it's a very important episode, and like it does that moment. Like obviously you've heard about Marcy throughout the show, and like finally seeing their reunion after you'd gotten the Anne Sasha reunion, like that felt very nice to see, and you get a little bit of like Marcy having found her place in the world, and like Anne coming to terms with that, like trying to adjust to the new reality, and like it's just it's a funny episode to see Marcy's ditziness, but also like it still ends up being and she's able to take care of herself, and the Newt's reaction to the frogs is pretty funny. So like there's a lot of good jokes in there, but the Anne Marcy connection beginning there felt at the time it was a nice moment for sure, and of course you set up Marcy Ann through the rest of that season. So it's an important episode in the show, and I think it's solid enough that it deserves to be in a ranking.
Nice. See,
Marcy Ann, not to be confused with Marsan, of course, which is the ship.
There's probably some blushes in there already, right?
Like, I mean,
we'll eventually get some. Yeah,
hugging is a thing. Sometimes you do with people you like.
Top 10 shipping episodes. That's what we're doing here. No, okay, no. I knew
we'll get there later.
I knew someone would rank Marcy at the Gates, so I strategically left it off. So I'm already rewarded. Okay.
Wow, interesting game you're playing.
No, I just wanted to highlight others, but I'm glad Alex highlighted Marcy at the Gates. Yeah, great one. So my number 10 actually has already been mentioned somehow. I didn't expect that. It is Snow Day.
Isn't it great?
Yeah,
it's so fun.
I don't have a lot of season 1 on here, but I wanted to highlight my favorite of the like more fun, I think, season 1 episodes, and this was definitely I just remember loving this as I was catching up. I think on Amphibia is the one that stood out to me. I think there's good Spran stuff in here, right? I don't know.
Oh God, you just made me think of the ship when you said
top 10 Spran episodes.
But yeah, like Luke Sprig and Anne reacting to that, and they're having fun.
But what's the best part is like when Polly's the one who gets kidnapped, right, to be the sacrifice, and Sprig sees her like in an ice cube on the ceiling of the den of the creature, and he's still like really out of it from being woken up, and he's like, oh, what's Polly doing up there? Is she magic? And just the way that, like, the humor lands so well. It's such a good... I am so happy, though. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, Snow Day.
It's amazing.
That sounds familiar. I want to rewatch it now. But
it's such a funny episode.
Yeah, I believe it. And also, snow episodes are always good. Just so you know. We didn't talk about the Owl House snow episode. Actually, we talked about like every other episode. But
that's true. That is a good episode.
Adventures in the Elements. But this is this one got ranked. That one didn't. So I guess this is better. I guess that's been decided.
Yeah, that's what that means. Yeah.
Okay, Michelle, you're number 9.
Okay, this is the one I cheated on and split it into two because I needed to put more in. So I chose season 1 episode. I chose Prison Break and Toe Tax as number 9. I'm so sorry, but I did it. So Prison Break obviously is the one where like we get our full proper introduction to Sasha and Captain Grime and get a sense of what's going on, and like their dynamic's amazing. Sasha just being able to like get on everyone's good side and manipulate them into doing what she wants is like so fun to see. Such a like you really warm up to Sasha as soon as you see her. Like you get a sense that there's like a little like teen menace there, but it's like kind of delightful. And she's like outsmarting Grime, and like Captain Grime's like doing his best, but he doesn't know how to talk to people. He's not a very good manager, let's be real. And she's good at those skills, so they help each other out and they come to this mutual respect early on. And she's just kind of down. She's like, yeah, I'll stay here and have fun with you. Like, F frogs, am I right? And he's like, yeah. And like, it's an amazing intro to them. It's an iconic episode. And like, we had to wait so long for it because they introduced her being in the jail in like episode 1 or 2. So like, we really had to wait, but it was worth the wait. So that's why it's there. And also Toe Tax is great. Because it's like the episode, Anne's felt like a little out of place, but that was the episode where it's just like really like drilled in like, oh, Anne's an outsider, oh, they don't respect her. And then she stands up to the Toads eventually, not right away, but she's like trying to give them back their taxes stuff. And eventually she's like, I'm not going to have this medal. You guys suck. These are my peeps. And they're like, oh, that's cool. She did that. And then they like her. So that's nice.
Okay, we have Michelle's tie for number.
Yeah, it's the only 9. Tie I promise.
Alex, any thoughts? And then your number 9.
My thoughts is that my number 9 was Prison Break by itself.
I mean, that is also fine, Alex. You can do that.
We're only ranking Sasha episodes from now on.
I was sticking to the criteria of what a segment for.
I asked Dylan before if it was fine. He said, it's your list, Michelle. So I took that and ran with it.
But yeah, I don't have much more to add beyond what Michelle said. Like it's a great introduction to Sasha. The comedy of Grimes struggling through complimenting his fellow soldiers is great. And them teaming up to fight off the herons, and like the menace of the ending of Sasha like agreeing to be in this, contrasted with what the character arc we've seen Anne go through so far on her end is just like a good juxtaposition. And so like that fit with Toad Tats really does make sense. It's like putting them side by side. So Prison Break, really good episode and a really good intro to Sasha.
Sasha, yes, good job, Sasha representation.
We stand mean blondes who come around in the end in this house.
Now I'm thinking, like, can I like retroactively add Toe Tats?
No, definitely not. You didn't ask permission before the podcast.
So that's me grief, Alex, but now you're wishing you were me, right?
Yeah, wishing I could have cheated to 11 episodes.
Wow.
Your honorable mention specifically for the number 9 spot is Toad Tax. That's 11. Okay.
Well, the thing is, it's still on the board now, so.
Oh yeah, maybe it'll be coming up. That's true. Interesting. Okay. There you go. Have we met? Oh, only season 1 and 2 so far. Yeah. Let's bring in season 3. How about that?
Wow.
Just
season 3, number 9.
Me ranking any season 3 episode as well.
I can't answer that. It's all a surprise, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm sure the finale episodes are on no one else's list besides mine. Okay, but this is not the one the finale episodes. This is. I'm sure this will not be. I think I have some unique picks here, but I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Number 9 is Temple Frogs.
Oh yeah, okay. I don't have that. Ooh, tell us why though.
This is the episode where they're at the Thai temple and they attack. The robot things attack. The Thai stuff, the temple, like Anne is amazing in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing everyone at the temple. And I love seeing them all fight together. I was really blown away by this, and it's coming up in some other episodes around here. So this is I guess why I think the beginning of the season 3 defense around this time, season 3 is really great in my opinion. The Earth stuff. I think there's a lot of good Earth stuff. I know there's some other takes on it, and it's a lot of different things. Certainly, spending time at the Thai temple I think is really great, and loved seeing that. I think I skimmed through it. I don't think I rewatched it yet, but so I don't remember exactly everything, but I definitely really responded to this one at the time. Okay.
The thing I remember most from Temple Frogs is that shot of the realistic frogs. This is how humans see them.
Episode? Oh my god.
Iconic shot of season 3 for sure. And just in general, season 1 had the pad Thai episode of the restaurant, but season 3 gives you a good
more context. Where she's coming from.
It's a good opportunity to show off the Thai representation that this show was able to use for depth for Anne and her family's characters. So that was especially a nice moment for that.
My strongest memory of that is just the Tupperware and Anne's mom being like, do you know what happens when your kid leaves and you get depressed and can't feed yourself? Your community feeds you for a while. And she's just like, oh my God. Okay, sorry, you guys. That must have been very hard. It's a great moment, and it feels it's just very real. And it's just like, dang, yeah, these stakes are real. This is hard for these parents. It's scary when your kid disappears.
There you go. Temple Frogs. Didn't see it coming at number 9.
That was a genuine surprise.
I mean, depending on what people's, if you're me listening, I'm surprised that the season 1 episode's mentioned, but maybe if you're Michelle.
Hey, yours was too. You had Snow Day in there.
So I had Snow Day, so I'm contributing as well. Okay, Michelle, what's your number 8?
Number 8 is season 1, episode 20, Reunion. Yay, Reunion. It's just honestly, Anne and Sasha getting reunited so nice, and then it immediately becomes super menacing and sus, and the chance that Hot Pop especially is gonna get murdered and all the frogs are gonna get beat up is really terrifying. And then the sword fight on the roof, and just the fact that even though Anne spent a season becoming more confident and really finding a place with this new community, as soon as Sasha tells her what to do, she's ready to go and do it. And Sprig steps in and speaks up for her, and that motivates her to speak up for herself, and that their dynamic is everything. And then after the sword fight, and then Sasha's actually regretting their relationship. She's not in denial. She's just she sees the frog family and how much they care about her, and she's like, Jesus Christ, maybe I do suck. Maybe I should just go away. And it's very fraught. And then Grimes gives her that nasty face, you hurt my new best friend, and walks away. It's all so good. It's all so good. And it's a fantastic finale. I like it more than the season 1 finale of Owl House. I will say that. I think it's better.
Okay.
I think it's better.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't rank the season of Shadow.
No, I didn't.
Spoilers. See, this is why we said listen to that one first.
Yeah,
I said we were going to spoil it.
There's a reason.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think either. Both are great, but I don't think it's an absurd take or anything, for sure. Putting Reunion there. Okay. So, I'm sure Reunion will come up later in the podcast. But there you go. At number 8 for Michelle. Alex, number 8.
We go from the Sasha Anne reunion to the perhaps Sasha Anne climax of the beginning of the end. This is the third to last episode of the season 3, and most of this episode is kind of Sasha and Anne. Up to this point in season 3, a big piece has been Sasha getting Anne's trust again, and here you get the kind of the pinnacle of it, where they're totally in sync finally again, and they get that awesome the Dance Revolution sequence of fighting Olivia and Yunan. But also a big piece of this is them trying to come to terms with how they feel about Marcy as well. You got that intro of the flashback to Marcy and try and introduce them to her favorite movie and how they reacted at the time, and you cut to the present, them Anne being well, maybe we weren't weren't great friends there, and Sasha like trying to like piece that together with what she's done up to this point. So like all that is very juicy emotional stuff to dig into. And then of course like they encountered Darcy in for the first time at the end of that episode. I wish we got a little bit more of sassy Darcy in the show, but like this episode in particular is a good highlight of her interacting with Anne and Sasha. So there's a lot of fun stuff in this episode, and a lot of a culmination for Sasha Ann as a relationship. So this one was really fun as a lead in to the finale, to the big finale episodes.
Nice. And just know, whenever we mention a pairing, it's we mean romantic, we mean shipping. So just keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yes, always.
Nice. That's a good one to highlight. For whatever reason, that reminded me. So I want to add an honorable mention, Ohmtown Road, to my list, which is because I love Proteus, and that's like the best design, the Ohms and Proteus. Anyway, I guess I was thinking of the second half of season 3. But there you go. We are into number 7. Nope, number 8.
You need to do yours still.
My number 8 is we talked about Sasha. Here is Beryl's Warhammer.
Yeah,
my number 8.
An all Sasha 8 slot.
Heck
yes,
yeah.
let's
She
do
deserves
it.
it.
I'm just assuming the rest of our lists all are Sasha episodes.
This is your hunt low. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. It is true. Yeah. It's Sasha X Grime ? Is the hunt low of this show?
Question mark.
Let's not go there.
Okay, we're not going there. Beryl's Warhammer I wanted to put the best Sasha Grime episode in this slot. Is this the best one? Maybe, I don't remember, but
it's a strong one.
It's definitely a good one. The worm, are they fighting a worm or something? What is it?
I think it's just a big bullworm thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was like one of the best action scenes of the show. I really loved that, and I love Sasha and Grime. Always love. I'm a big Sasha stan. Always love Sasha and Grime's dynamic. I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. So there you go, Beryl's Warhammer. Okay.
Plus, Sasha gets really buff and she freaking lifts that hammer. Okay, that's crazy.
That is good.
Yeah.
Let's move to. We'll refrain from further Sasha comments. I assume she'll come up again. Michelle, what's your number 7?
My number 7 is season 2, episode 28, Lost in Utopia. This is the iconic Tails. Tails. Like, that's like literally one of the most amazing jokes that they ever did. It's just so bizarre. The fact that the store clerk, like, they also get him to start chanting and clapping it when they like walk out of the shop with their sexy weird ass tails on. Like, it's just like, oh my god, what's happening? But also, this is the best thing that could have happened. I like seeing Anne and Polly bond. I like that they just like mess everything up in the town all by accident. The scary like parade thing that like catches fire and then its face becomes like even worse. Like, they're knocking people over when they put their tails on. Like, everyone hates them. And then at the end, when they get back to the tour bus, like, Hop Pop's like, oh, it's my granddaughter, my adopted granddaughter. And it just melts your heart, you know? It's just a very solid, very fun episode. And it reminds me a little bit of the fun joy of season 1 with a little added like nuance to where the story has progressed at the same time. So it's great. It deserves the number 7 spot.
Nice. Okay. I was remembering more as you were explaining, so thank you.
There's also that bit at the end of that episode where Marcy and Andreas discover like the passage into the basement or something.
Oh yeah, he's all sneaky. He's like, oh.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure that's going to turn out fine. Yeah, nothing to worry about there. Yeah. Okay. I like that. I did really like all the Newtopia stuff. Newtopia stuff in Amphibia equals Bossing Say in Avatar.
I guess so. Yeah. Fancy cities, lots to do, lots of sneaky stuff around.
Yeah, lots of secrets.
Lots of corruption behind the surface.
Corruption. Oh man. Yeah. Okay. Alex, your number 7.
This is where I had toe tats.
Woo! There's nothing wrong with it. It's a great episode. Yeah.
It's a good episode. Although I could have fit it at
no, you couldn't because you didn't know that was an option. So you did your best, Alex.
But the nice thing about toe tats is that like season one, the first half of season one is like so funny, and at the same time, like it's doing an important thing of Anne being introduced to all the characters in Wartwood, and like allowing you to have like a connection to each of them, and seeing how Anne is slowly becoming part of the community. And so once that's happened by Toad Tats, like she's now like put in like a story related like reason to be behind these people that she's become to befriend. And Toad Tats, like, it like preys on her thing of wanting respect, and like she initially falls for it, but like as the episode goes on, she is like ready to make her stand based on the stuff that she's based on her connections that she's built up to that point in the season. And it feels very rewarding to see her take that step compared to where she started, of like being a little more on the selfish side to begin the show. So this sets up the Toads and Toad Tower, and how Sasha and Grime end up getting back to Anne. But that final scene where like they're fighting and it's raining, and she's got like the sword and the tennis racket. It's all good stuff, and it's mostly impressive to me for like how that feels like a kind of hinge point from like Amphibia being just pure comedy. So like beginning a little more in earnest, like her journey back to her friends and to her, and eventually to Earth. But like that feels like an important episode, and also a very emotional episode.
Okay, good stuff there. A lot of love for those two episodes. You like to see it. So my number 7 is, I'm sure that it's we're going back to season 3. I'm sure it's not on our list. This is Fight at the Museum, which is the counterpart to Thai Temple. What was it? I'm scrolled down on the list. Temple Frogs. It's Fight at the Museum, then Temple Frogs. I just loved this half hour. So this was like one of the high points of the show for me. Okay, I rewatched Fight at the Museum, so I can defend this even more, because I know, look, we have different... I don't remember a lot of the season 1 humor. Okay, we can set that aside. This was my funniest episode of Amphibia. I love it. So funny. So it's the first museum episode. There's just a lot of great small gags. Most prominently, this is the episode where Hot Pop says, "Eat the rich." So
yes, he does in the guillotine, right?
Yes. I believe he dresses up as a cat as well in this episode. It's a great Hot Pop episode. I just thought this was so funny. There's like Anne's computer, is watching stuff. Oh, there's like the fake Downton Abbey or something. I love this. It's so funny. There's a lot of great Earth stuff in here. So yeah, I think if you're gonna to try to defend the Earth stuff in Amphibia, I would point to Fight at the Museum and Temple Frogs. I love those two. Okay.
Good one. It's a good one.
Yay. So, are we getting to the heavy hitters? We will see. Because we're going to Michelle's number 6.
My number 6 choice is season 3. Ooh.
Oh.
Episode, it says 45. That's wild. It's a lot of episodes too. And Terminator, which I wouldn't be surprised if this is on other people's. But, I mean, I guess it just depends on what you gravitate towards. But, I mean, I love this. It's just like, it's such a good episode for season 3 at the point where it's coming in the first half, because Anne at this point, like, she's been showing her parents she's more responsible. She feels like kind of a different person to them in a lot of ways, but she's also like keeping the worst of the full extent of the danger that she and the planners are in. And it all comes to a head in this episode when Long Boy Robo Frog tries to kill them and they're in the junkyard. And like, I love when her mom rips into her. And she's like, when are you going to grow up? Will you stop being this little kid who lies and is immature? And Anne just like straight up like tells her she's trying her best. And she can't answer that because she doesn't know how long that's gonna take. And like she owns it, but she's also like, look, Mom, like that's kind of a really like that's a lot to ask of me right now. Please meet me where I am. And that's honestly like I think what her mom does. And it's such a nice relatable moment. And I feel like especially like because like Anne's dad, he's very hot, but he's also like very easygoing. He doesn't have a lot of like like intense or critical conversations with Anne, but she has those a lot more with her mom, and I really love their relationship because I feel like her mom is so like real. Like that's what a mom would say in that situation. Like she's worried, she's stressed out. Like this is so much. Like her parents have been doing their best to just like deal with the insanity of everything that's been going on. But like that's a breaking point for her, and she's not initially convinced that everything is going to be fine. And she yells at Anne, and then they like figure it out. But it's like it's so good. I like that it's not like neatly tied up, you know. It's just like it's an important conversation they had, but it's not the end of the conversation, and I thought that was very well done. So that is why it's number 6.
Nice. Alex, any thoughts? And then your number 6.
I definitely appreciate it, Anne's Terminator a lot. I think there's a moment where like Anne's mom is like really I don't know if it's this episode where Anne's mom is like really effective in taking out the robots, and Sprig is like,
she does that this up. She's
Sprig is like to Anne's dad. Did you know she could do that?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I'm not surprised by that display of violence at all. This is Tuesday in our house.
Yeah, that was a nice moment. My number 6, I'm curious if this is a curveball, but now I'm dipping into the season 1 pure comedy episodes. I would like to put Sprig versus Hop Pop into the list here.
Ooh.
A lot of I mean, Hop Pop is just very funny in this episode where he gets kicked off the farm. His immediate urge is to go to the cemetery and live among the beetles, and like the way they bring him. He's like, I've got a community here, and it's just like, Sprig is sleeping in your bed. What?
Suddenly everything shatters his facade.
Yeah, and then you got like Sprig becoming a tyrant, and like lots of weird suggestions being implemented, including I think there are clowns at some point in there.
I blocked this out. If that happened.
And like it culminates in them doing their sumo wrestling on the lily pad. Just a very wacky episode, very funny episode. Just great hop pop stuff. Sprig is off the rails, and Anne and Polly are just like trying to keep up. I love that. I think that's one of the good highlights of the season 1's ability to just go full on jokes, and it works great.
Nice. A lot of season 1 love to see it.
I'm really happy that it's that high, Alex. That's so amazing. that's what this show is about.
Yeah, it's about the generational rifts between the young people who have suggestions and
the old people that throw them aside.
Who throw them in the furnace, never to be read.
I was missing somehow.
That's why Anne and Hop Pop needed to get high to bond. It's exactly the same energy. Yeah.
You think American politics would be solved if everyone just had like tea together?
If they're all frogs. Yeah. That was what I was thinking. Yeah, you're saying people. It's like it's frogs. Okay, my number 6. I'll stay in season 3. More season 3 love is Escape to Amphibia, which is the mid-season finale. So yeah, I thought this was really good. I'm a fan of the Earth stuff. So there are a lot of characters that I liked seeing return. And in general, I thought this was definitely the best of like the Earth action stuff with like all the like FBI stuff. Just a really great mid-season finale. A lot of bringing people back, that were like rescuing people. Going back to Amphibia, I think that was a really good scene too. So, I was really impressed with Escape to Amphibia. I think it's up there with some of the elite ones for the show.
Escape to Amphibia is in my honorable mentions. Like it was definitely a nice piece of that season 3 Earth arc. Felt like a good way to say goodbye. I mean, you got that point at the end where they're saying where Anne has to say goodbye to her parents, and her parents are like have seen enough over the course of the season to be supportive of it, and that felt like a good moment. You got the Anne Star Wars parody of her mowing down people with her lightsaber.
Oh yeah, she
mowing it
That's right.
down.
Yeah, just guard after guard falling.
Yeah, good parent stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of nice moments in there.
Also, I scrolled to Escape to Amphibia on the Wikipedia, and right above it, it says Rebecca Sugar. So I remembered Rebecca Sugar was an Amphibia character. Okay, we'll see if Froggy Little Christmas is coming up. Why didn't Rebecca Sugar come back in the show?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Mr. S, Dylan?
Oh yeah, what do you think of Mr. A?
Neutral. He's fun sometimes. I think Escape to Amphibia is like the best for the Mr. X type of stuff. You know,
in terms of like how he's used.
Yeah, when they're finally like a big action thing, they're finally getting past her. I think isn't he good at some point?
Yeah. Well, it's like that's his least incompetent is the last episode for him.
So that's what I thought. This was like everything worked the best. It all culminated. Yeah. And yeah, it is a good use of this format episode. Anyway, so that's my number 6. Getting into the top 5.
Get serious.
Will it be serious or will it be more season 1 silliness?
We'll
find out when we get to Michelle's number 5.
Okay, so my number 5 is season 1, episode 4, the domino effect.
Okay, so
of course.
Okay.
This is what we meant by heavy
Let
hitters.
me put it this way. When I'm sad about the world or like a personal failure, I'll turn to this episode and it never ceases to do its job, which is to make me happy. It's I don't understand how they made this so funny. It's just like it's such a hilarious concept. And like I know it doesn't seem that original, but just like Domino 2 looks really silly. Like Domino 2 moves really silly as like an inchworm. But also, she's a caterpillar, I think, specifically, right? But I don't think it's exactly it's like there's a name for it. I feel like a bad fan not remembering. But just like, it's a cat person episode. Of course, I'm gonna love it. And like, she turns into this giant, scary moth and wants to eat Sprig, but Anne still loves her, and so she sends her away. But there's like that sad montage at the end that had no right to be there, but it was so funny and so good. It's just the best. It's the heart and soul of season 1. The domino effect. I would have put it number 1, but that seemed crazy, so I settled for number 5. I wish I could have gone higher.
I admire your restraint.
So good.
You could have. Nothing was stopping you from going higher.
No, really cool episodes were stopping.
Okay.
This is the best of the season 1 vibes. Hands
I thought when you said really cool episodes, you were going to say more season 1 episodes after this.
I mean, I wish, but not when I made this list. Apparently, I didn't do that. But
that would be if your entire top 10 was just season 1 episodes.
I mean, in another life, you give me more time to make this list when I have less. Maybe that would have happened.
Okay, that is Michelle's heavy hitter number 5. Let's hear Alex's number 5.
On an equal level to the Domino episode, this is where I got Reunion.
Oh.
I also have Reunion at number 5, so we can talk about it together.
Okay. But that makes honestly more sense for that normal people out there.
Yeah, as was mentioned earlier in Michelle's list, that this is the Sasha and reunion, as the title states. But it's fun to see that turn from like the excitement of them being together to like seeing how like their friend dynamic doesn't work the same now that Anne has gone through her character arc with the frogs and Wartwood, and with now having the support system of Sprig and Hop Pop to lean on, and then you have Lean On Me happen, which like are you
warming up to it? Because you did not like it when you first watched it.
I know.
You're like, I don't know about this song, you guys.
Yeah, like I still go back and forth on it, but like there are times I watched it recently and I was like, no, wait, this is working for me now, because like it is like a moment where like they used to like be like so close to each other and they would lean on each other, but then you have like Sprig and Hop Pop like grabbing Anne together, like these are the new people that I get my support from, and like it definitely fits what's going on in terms of the story. I get taken out because like it is like a real song, and it's like in this world, like it my brain just struggles to put that together. So anyways, that point aside, it's a really emotional moment, especially when Sasha lets go, and it's like oh god, like this is like a totally ruptured thing, and then you see Anne like broken down at the end too, like I can't believe I just did that. And like that's the way that ends season 1. It like really it's a different, it's a tone change from how most of season 1 had gone. So reunion was a very interesting experience and a way to end season 1, and interesting to look back on now that we know how like the Sasha Ann relationship ebbs and flows over the course of the show.
Nice, yeah. I was just really blown away when I got to this at the end of season 1. I was like, I did not know Amphibia did this huge episode. I mean, arguably, even this is bigger than, I mean, I guess the season 2 finale was really big, but it's just like such a big episode at the end of like a pretty like funny character focused season. I love the Lean on Me sequence. That whole thing, I was just so blown away by everything with that. So I don't know. I think it could even be too low at number 5 on my list, but also, I mean, there's such good ones coming up. So it's yeah. I mean, you could argue this number 5 is number 1 or very high up on many other show lists. Like this, such a strong top, and then also Domino Effect as well.
Yeah,
doesn't have to be said.
Equal footing.
Yeah,
of
equal
course, with reunion.
Okay, Michelle, number 4.
My number 4 is season 2, episode 39, Battle of the Bands. I think there are quite a few. Well, maybe not quite. There every so often there's like a Sasha Ann or Sasha episode that like recontextualizes and builds off of the drama from before. But for me, like the reason I put this versus like Turning Point or something else is because like, in my opinion, this is like the first moment we really see Sasha like start to come around to meeting Anne like where she is at this point in her life and starting to respect her decision to be her own person. And it's a small gesture, you know, she's willing to play the song that's not her idea. And she's smiling, watching like Marcy and Anne on stage doing their own thing. And like, it's not that she's not going to still like immediately go and backstab them in the next episode, but like, it's still like you're seeing the progression, and I love that like the way it's showcased, just like having that moment all together on stage. Like it's very sweet, it's very nice, and it feels very earned. It's just like this nice little like unity break before like everything goes wrong, and I love that. And like, let's be real, No Big Deal is like such a banger. It's like the infamous Amphibia song at this point. And it's very, very good. So that's why it's my number 4.
What about Heartstomper? I mean,
that's there too. That's nice, but it's not as good as No Big Deal.
Wow, how dare.
No Big Deal gets like 3 or 4 iterations by the end of the show. So
yeah, and there's like that short stretch of episodes where you get Anne, Sasha, and Marcy all together in
bonding.
It's like so little amount in the when you compare like the whole show that all 3 of them get to interact with each other and you see their dynamics. So Battle of the Bands is like a very nice
good for that.
And also like that ending where like they all take the picture together in the town.
Yeah, it's all the frogs in the town and they're all together. Yeah,
it's sweet, and it also like feels like okay, like this is like your last like happy
time.
Get into like the real stuff of this end of the season.
Yeah, Battle of the Bands is a very solid episode.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. That's a really good one. Alex, number 4.
So the way that Michelle has the Domino episode to go back to every time.
What does this mean? Ooh.
I have Contagion here.
What the what? Alex, how?
This is like that episode that I go to if I need a guaranteed laugh. Like, I'll go to this one.
Anne, can you refresh me? What happened to this episode?
You're asking that?
This is the one where Anne puts a mushroom in the soup and they all get red leg. And so they're all like very sick, and Hop Hop keeps looking for corners to die in.
Yes,
and Spring like keeps having his tongue involuntarily hit Hop Hop, and Hop Hop goes like, "Dang it, boy!"
Dang it, boy! Yeah, this might be our first "Dang it, boy." That actually is very iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like you have it, and like you know she faked being sick, and she has like increasing guilt over the course of the episode to the point where she like is comically like crying and
she thinks she killed them. Yeah.
And they're just like accepting their death. It's like, wait, why are we dead? And the payoff of like what the mushroom actually is also
the scrub toilets or something, right? It's something really nasty.
Like there's just a lot of physical gags in this episode, a lot of like hop death humor that is always a hit.
Hop death humor is good.
Yeah. So this feels like the encapsulation of Anne in the Planter family dynamic. Just like wall to wall jokes. This is like my favorite of like the season 1 pure comedy episodes. It feels very strange to put this above Reunion.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
Yeah, well, not to you.
It deserves to be there, Alex. Don't worry.
Yeah. So this is my domino episode of like the weird.
Yeah. Hey, don't say weird. These are on the list for a reason. They're very good.
Okay. I won't feel shame about this. You're right.
That's right. I'll own it.
Be confident in my taste.
Look, this is what I was hoping for from this exercise. We got it. Look, and equally on the same foot.
No, for real. What did you choose?
This is my personal episode when I need to feel good.
Okay.
I turn on True Colors. Is my number 4. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I feel good.
Just kidding.
Nice. I was so excited for something it seemed like the Mrs. Croker backstory episode or something.
I could try to scroll through and find one.
When you want to feel good, do you fast forward to the moment?
To the stabbing to feel the extra?
Actually, look, I know this is very weird, but I legitimately think the stabbing is very funny. I really like it, like in a way that I laugh at like horror movies. Like I like.
Although you want to know what that moment in True Colors is for me, it's the moment where like they throw Sprig out the window, and then Anne has like a minute-long montage of like all her favorite Sprig moments, and like that's it's heartbreaking, but also like how long it goes does make me like, oh no.
The world is forever. When he drops out the window, it holds on him falling for a long time.
Well, that too, yeah.
That's so freaking funny. It gets me every time. But I genuinely felt emotional about the montage. Oh my god.
Okay, anyway, Dylan, go on with your serious thoughts.
Look, I mean, there would be more True Colors talk. I mean, this could have been number 1. All my top 5 could have been number 1. It's fine, but it's so dramatic. It's not that like it's bad or anything. I love the stabbing. I think it's so. I love the stab. I mean, I was disappointed there wasn't more stabbing in season 3. Right, like I wanted follow-up stabs, but yeah, the only reason it's not higher is because I wasn't as emotionally attached, I think, to what was happening here as some of the later stuff. But also,
that's fair.
Yeah, because it's just high drama. It's a little. I mean, you could argue it's a little much, but I still think it's great.
Well, they'd almost killed Polly, then they almost killed Sprig, and then they stabbed Marcy. So like, you can only take so much.
Yeah, but it's still so much good stuff in here, and Super Saiyan and everything, all this stuff. So obviously, True Colors good. We'll talk about it more. Michelle, what's your number 3? Let's see if we swerve here.
Yeah, we're not swerving. My number 3 is also True Colors. For me, it was just like I love that Sasha did still straight up betray Anne. Marcy. I love that Anne got betrayed by both of her best friends. Just double friendship betrayals. Love to see it. I like that Sprig and Grime had a fight. I like that Sasha and Grime they were doing great, and they find out the actual plan, and then they get captured and can't help it all, and so they just have to watch the terrible thing happen in front of them. I honestly just when Anne reveals her secret power and goes Super Saiyan, and it's just it's such a well animated sequence, but just the no big deal score is just so perfect. It's the biggest reveal in my opinion the entire show. That moment was the biggest it ever got, and I love that we got it in season 2 because you really wouldn't expect that in the middle of the show. Her punching the out of Andrea's, I can't believe they did that. That was amazing. That was she's so pissed. I love that she's so pissed off. And just I really like this brand, sad montage, okay? Their relationship is my favorite, so it really worked on me. But I understand if it came off as goofy. I mean, I feel like the Lean On Me song is very much that way too. Either you really lean hard and you get it, or you're just this.
Oh no, you're pinpointing a psychological.
Yeah, no, it's the same kind of thing. I get it. True Colors just and I feel that was just a huge moment for the fandom objectively. Just everyone was so hyped during the hiatus after that, like it was like they end up in Earth. Like who saw that coming? Not me. Like that was crazy. Frogs in LA, like seeing Anne's parents, like oh my god. Just so much happened that was so good and so surprising. And I love that. And on reflection, maybe the stabbing was pretty funny. Sorry, Marmar, but like rip.
It's also funnier because the way how Disney handled it. Like that increases the comedy.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Alex, your number 4. 3.
3.
Yes.
My number 3, this is where I got all in.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
First all in.
Yeah, this is first all in. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many moments in this in this episode. I mean, it's a long boy of an episode, right? So there's a lot they fit into here. Obviously the K-pop moment where she gets revived is a classic, and then like the cut from her getting ready to punch Andreas to Sasha fighting Darcy is like just a great editing moment there. Obviously you got Anne coming to taking on the role of hero, and you got Sprig reading the letter to Andreas from Leaf. The Planter family hunting dance makes its return. I remember reacting really hard to that. There's just like a lot of like fun fan rewarding moments in this episode. So it feels. It was definitely a really good time to see it, and it's hard for these top 3. Like they're all just really fun and really emotional, and really there are definitely some like tough moments in them too. So like they could probably go in any order, but like this is where I end up with all in.
Yeah. Yep. I agree, and we will talk more. My number 3 this is my hot take for the Elite Amphibia episodes. I don't know if will be on either list. I haven't kept track, but my number 3 is The Core and the King.
Ooh, good choice.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I could have put True Colors above this, but I guess I wanted a hot take a little bit. But I thought this was just
Divorce Trio backstory.
Yeah, I thought this was so satisfying. Finally getting this full backstory episode. Something that I'd love for Bellas. I was so into it. It's like has a unique presentation as well visually, right? I thought that was so cool. It's very satisfying getting for this villain who you're not expecting to kind of be fleshed out and have such a prominent emotional role, and then the following episodes as well, I think is so good. And the story is good on its own, and as kind of backbone to everything we've seen before and see after this, it was really incredible. I was very blown away by Core and the King, one of my favorites.
Core and the King made it into my honorable mentions. Like, actually, it was a thing where, like, I think, like, for a while, we were like, when is the Andreas backstory episode? And then when we saw that synopsis come in, like, upcoming episodes, like, finally, we're gonna, like, get a little bit, like, well, what's going on with him? And, like, finally getting that, even, like, that late in the show, like, it definitely helps illuminate some things. Obviously, getting the Leaf payoff after, like, just seeing her in a portrait for so long also felt, like, really good. Her inventing the hunting dance was a nice added bonus there. So definitely a lot of, and Zeno Robinson kills it as young Andreas in that episode too.
Yes.
What's his face? Dipper does a good job too.
Yeah.
Well, what's his name?
I generally don't know his name, but he did a good job.
My pitch for Amphibia spinoff is Leaf creating Wortwood.
Leaf falling in love with the dopey guy that's great.
Himbo farmer,
Yeah, the himbo farmer, yeah.
That's a nice part of All In, too.
Yeah. Glad she has that.
Jason Ritter, by the way. Okay. There you go. There's hot take at 3. Let's talk about our top 2 episodes. Will there be any deviation?
Ooh.
We will see. Michelle, what's your number 2?
I don't think you guys are going to guess this, but you're probably not going to be surprised either once I say it. My number 2 is season 2, episode 29, Hopping Mall.
I knew
I was expecting this coming up.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, well then never mind. Take it back. I'm very transparent, apparently.
Well, it's not one of the finale episodes, so it's a good hot take up here.
There's a reason it's not number 1, but it was really, really close. I'm like, honestly, I think this was such a well crafted episode. The payoff was so disarming but so effective. I mean, seeding like this like mother stuff with Anne and then Priscilla and her mom, and then she gives her back her freaking like heirloom ceramic, which I don't even know why she didn't have that in the first place. It should belong to her. Her mom made it and her mom's dead. She should have it. And then her daughter, Priscilla's little baby, gives Anne the butterfly, and wouldn't you know it, Anne's mom happens to love butterflies, and it's actually the perfect present all along. And it's like, okay, that was a nice touching, this is nice show moment. And then it keeps going and it gets really quiet and you're like, what happening here? And then you just see like Sprig wake up and it's all serious, and Anne's like on the balcony like playing with a butterfly and just being really thoughtful, and Sprig like asks her what's going on, and she just like tells him about her, you know, like actually getting homesick for the first time. And like you think back to season 1 when she would like kind of complain about her mom and how like she made her eat trail mix in the car because she didn't think she could handle the spicy food, and just like all that stuff, you know, that teens feel about their parents. And now she's just like, you know, she's really reflecting on it. And then like Sprig like opens up in this way we had never seen before. And again, like I am so on the Spran train. The relationship is so important. There's so many layers here. The progression, I don't think it's subtle, but it does take a lot of time to get there. And just the fact that he goes from being this and he's like, you know, he's her buddy. He is the person she can depend on the most, I would say. Like, he's always there for her, but he also doesn't share a lot of his own stuff. And he gets really real with her and shares, like, the most personal thing. And it's very raw, and it's boarded so well. There are these nice little moments when he's playing with this little pom-pom ball in his hat and just, like, fidgeting, just trying to get the words out. And then he, like, tries to downplay it. Like, it's like, oh, isn't it weird that I wish I knew, like, my mom. It's like, no, it's not weird, Spring. It's really sad, but it makes a lot of sense. And she's like hugs him. Like, she didn't need to say anything. She just like offered him her support, which is a very, like, you think about Reunion and how Sprig did that. It's like a nice, like, they're finally kind of switching roles in that moment. I feel like that's the kind of stuff a good friendship is based on, right? It can't be that one-sided, that one person's the one you always lean on. So it was just, the execution was so good. It was so beautiful. Like, you never saw it coming. It was so disarming, and the credits were beautiful, and they made you cry. It came out of freaking nowhere. It wasn't like a finale. We were like, had any expectation. So I think that's why it deserves number 2. Like, it was so good and so disarming and so effective. And I think, like, that was the most emotionally distraught I got outside of a finale, and probably more than half the finales, honestly. So good job, Hopping Mall. You deserve number 2 spot.
Good stuff. Yeah, so romantic, right? That the whole epic spring romance.
I can't talk about that because it's literally the most cursed thing in the entire world. But they are very good friends, so it's not bad. It's not bad foundation.
Very good friends, wink. Yeah.
I just want to throw out here that if I was allowed to put Toad Tats and Prison Break as a single entry, then Hopping Mall would have. But Hopping Mall, as my list currently exists, was my number 11. It was it was hurtful to me to leave it out for Marcy at the Gates.
That's why I didn't include Marcy at the Gates at all, like, for anything. I didn't remember Hopping Mall, man.
Yeah. It's that ending is just one of the sweetest moments in all of the show.
I think it's one of the most heart-wrenching, but it's also sweet, I guess. It's just very sad.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the best scenes. I agree. Okay. Alex, you are number 2.
This is where I got True Colors. It's definitely a the Marcy ending is very out of nowhere for the show, and I think that had its intended effect, even if it caused a random delay due to a random executive who was like really freaked out probably when they saw it. And yeah, like, seeing everybody pitch into the fights, Pop Polly getting her legs in the middle of that is a low key highlight of that episode. And yeah, obviously the guest animated sequence of Anne going Super Saiyan. Alex Small-Butera, I believe, or Lindsay Small-Butera is the animator responsible for that. It was very, very awesome to see that level up in the show. We've already talked a lot about True Colors at this point, but it was an awesome moment, and it giving its placement in the middle of the show, and then like setting up like, oh, we're on Earth now, like what, like it's a great like kind of a temporary send off for Amphibia as we like enter that era of the show where we are hanging out on Earth for a bit.
Yeah, True Colors. Was it on Michelle's list already? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yes, it was my number 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So look, we all top 5 didn't make number 1. Interesting, but we love True Colors, and this brings us to our number 1 episode. Wait, did I do my number 2?
No, you haven't done number 2 yet.
You're always forgetting yourself, Alec. Or Dylan.
Excuse.
It's getting late for me, okay?
Look, we've been at this. We recorded this back to back with it. My number 2 is All In. The second last episode. So obviously it's great. K-pop thing, amazing. What impresses me about All In is the framing of the episode. That it cuts to a lot of different things, flashbacks, Marcy and the Thing. It's, doing double episode on action is, I think you need to break that up, and even though all the action stuff is really amazing. So just having a lot of different narrative elements in play, kind of bouncing back and forth. I think that might even be the most narratively impressed I've been by Amphibia, and in one of the highest action moments of the show. I loved All In. I think it's really phenomenal. And that's my number 2. But the question is, which of the last 2 episodes is Michelle's number 1? I don't know.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, it's season 3, episode 58, The Hardest Thing. So I really went back and forth on if it was going to be this or Hopping Mall. And there,
you All In snubbed.
Yeah, or a domino. I mean, it could have been anything, right? The reason I chose The Hardest Thing is because, like, looking back over, like, the whole show, I think it's a fantastic culmination. It still throws some curveballs at you and literally dies. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see, like, Ruby being a god of everything. That was pretty cool.
In the form of Domino.
Yeah, like, that was all so good. But I also think, like, it's really, I think it's, like, really fun and exciting when you start a story. And it's much harder to end a story. I feel like there's so many books I've read that started so great, and then the ending's just so lackluster. And I just think endings are very hard. Your story gets more convoluted. It goes in these directions you might not expect. And it's like, how do you wrap that up in a way that feels good? And the great thing about Amphibia's ending is, like, it feels good because it's kind of bittersweet. And that feels like the perfect way to end that show based on the message they were trying to get out there. Like, that's so impressive. And it's not always executed super great way. I'm trying not to pick on other shows here. Obviously, there's certain shows that it'd be very easy to point to. It doesn't do a great job of that. It's hard. It's very hard work. I commend them for that. And I think it's just like it makes you, like, it lingers with you and you think about it and you're kind of sad, but you're also, like, happy and you enjoy the journey, and there's still, like, potential to see what happens to, like, Anne, Sasha, and Marcy later, Sprague growing up, Polly growing up, like, everyone's kind of moving on, and it's really nice. I think it's a really nice message, and it's not too much of a wrapping it up with a bow, you know what I mean? I feel like that's what makes it good, and I'm glad they went for that. I'm really glad they stuck to their guns. So I have to give the number 1 spot because, I mean, it's tying up a very ambitious story, and they did it really well, in my opinion.
Well, I will say, I believe The Hardest Thing is all of our number 1s.
Woo! Yeah, I hope so.
Yep.
Yay!
Wow. Wait, so Michelle, did you rank All In at all?
Yes, that's why I said snubbed. You didn't rank it.
I did not at all. It's not even on my honorable mentions.
Interesting. Okay.
I mean, I think it's fine, but it's not as good as the hardest thing, and it's not as good as Hopping Wall.
Well, I agree that I mean I definitely agree that hardest thing kind of tops All In.
Oh yeah.
I think you mentioned a lot of like the thematic triumphs of that episode very well, but just like a couple of other moments that are so good is again like the Anne, Sasha, and Marcy all reacting. I mean, all being together is like such a rarity in the show. It's like you see them like all have their powers activated and are all fighting. You have the jazzy version of No Big Deal happening while they're fighting the core. Is
the powers.
Yeah, and that just was all like a real nice moment to get to. The conversation that Anne has with the Guardian felt very fitting with the show in terms of like she has grown so much over the course of the show and like being like I'm still young and I still have a lot of time to keep growing and keep changing. Like it did a very good job of looping in like what's happened over the course of the show and kind of summarizing it in a way that still also fits with like where these people are going to end up by the end of this episode. And yeah, of course, like any show that gives us the time jump epilogue is always appreciated. Like, you know, seeing their takes on where these characters end up, and it ends up in an interesting place that still fits. Anne's like final monologue of the like, you know, things change, but like sometimes sometimes they'll come back, but also sometimes like you just kind of move on, you know, and live your life and take what you've learned, keep it with you. Like it's just as valuable as a memory, even if you can't go back to it. And yeah, just like those special end credits it was the first time seeing that was just like heart melting, and then you get like the final shot of their Polaroid and then the drinks. It's just like it's hard to say goodbye to a show that I loved so much over the course of its airing, and like it definitely felt like a very satisfying way to say goodbye to it.
Yeah. I was going to say I would argue we're talking about the wacky stuff in Amphibia. I think Anne meeting God is like the wackiest thing.
That is
kind of
objectively very wacky, yeah.
But I thought it was really good. So I like
the wackiness of it. At first appearing as like an old computer and communicating with like emoticons. Like that's a nice bit.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have talked about it. I think for me, this is the best episode because of the ending, as we were talking about. You guys did a great job of talking about it on the podcast you did. I think Allie talked about it really well thematically. But I was so blown away by the themes of the ending, and yeah, I mean, bittersweet. I think other shows, I personally think do good jobs, but nothing stuck with me like the ending of the hardest thing. I was thinking about this for like a long time after.
A while after, yeah.
And I really can't say that about a lot of other shows. And for like a show that's like really silly at times, like Amphibia, I mean, just ending on such a poignant like note. Yeah, just it's the notion of people, you know, being close to you, even if they're not like constantly in your lives. You know, I wasn't expecting Amphibia to hit on something that hits home is so deep and so meaningful, and for these characters, and it speaks to you, and it certainly speaks to the characters themselves. And you know, like I definitely wasn't kind of expecting this sort of ending, but I really loved it. It was such a thematic high point right at the end of the show. That's perfect for the show, perfect in general. And yeah, I thought it spoke so true, and did really, really stick with me. Still think about it sometimes. Like it's so evocative, the end of the hardest thing.
Evocative is a good word for it. Yeah. Well said, Dylan.
Thank you, and well said. You got all of you guys talking about it as well. You did a better job.
Yeah, but please listen to our podcast for more coherent thoughts from me and Allie and Michelle. We really dug deep into that episode.
Yeah, I agree. I co-sign that. There was good stuff in that podcast. Okay. Considering how different our lists are, we ended up with the same number one. Who would have thought?
Well, that's the mark of a show with intention, right? If we all end up on the same conclusion, taking very different paths.
And True Colors all in our top 4s, right? Top
yeah,
5?
it was my top 3. Yeah,
4 for me. Yeah, I switched it with last, but it was basically top 3. Oh, the only thing was All In was almost there too. But Reunion, All in ours. Okay, look, there's some commonality. And then there's a bunch of season 1 episodes, which I think is going to be people's favorite part of this.
I'm so glad both of you had season 1 in your top 10. That was such a gift, honestly. I'm so happy.
The thing about like comedy, right, is that like everybody has such different tastes on like what kind of jokes appeal to you, and like Amphibia has so much of it that you can really like pick. Everyone will have like a different favorite of those kind of episodes, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So it's fitting that there was a variety of those sorts of episodes in our list. Michelle, thoughts on our Amphibia ranking?
This was really fun. I wish we could do more with Amphibia, but it's over. So
yeah,
it had its time in the sun, and that's sad. But also, that adds to the bittersweet excellence of the finale in a way. And I'm really glad it happened. And it's very funny. Everyone go watch it, please, if you haven't already. I doubt you'll regret it if you get over the frog thing. You just watch the first episode, and you'll be fine.
If you need to listen to this podcast without having seen any of Amphibia,
you're bold.
You should comment. As we spoil bolding. Alex, and you were one of you was saving honorable.
Yeah,
mentions.
I was saving honorable mentions. The ones that we haven't mentioned, the first Temple, I think is a pretty good Marcy Ann episode. Like you're seeing Marcy like going full hog in the temple and not really caring about
going full nerd, you might say.
Yeah, and like that episode also has the aftermath of Anne figuring out that Hop Pop hid the bots and like dealing with that. So like there's a lot of interesting elements going on there that peaks with using them as flipboard pieces. So first Temple, very good episode. Also Anne or Beast, the first episode, like it's not. Like it's I know in the previous Owl House rankings I put their pilot very high. Amphibia's pilot is also pretty good, and like putting you in the sense of how Anne feels like being thrown into this world for the first time. Anne and Sprig meeting, you're my ugly hero, So, but Anne or Beast is also like a very sweet intro to the show that I think is also pretty funny too. So those are the only two that we hadn't mentioned of the ones I picked as honorable mentions. And just as overall thoughts, this was a show that had like Anne, Sasha, and Marcy all had like their peak episodes. They were all characters that I really got connected to over the course of the show, and so it made it work really hard on me when they got their like focus episodes. And at the same time, like the world around them of Wartwood, Sprig, and Hop Pop also had, I'm gonna miss their their banter as well, and Polly. I'll miss all my frog friends. But also like these are a bunch of these episodes are ones that like I'll be able to rewatch a lot. I can't really say the same for like. Owl House is like a lot more story dependent. Like you gotta like remember like where you are in there in the season. But like Amphibia, I feel a lot easier just like dipping in and dipping out, but wherever. So it just a lot of very rewatchable episodes in here. And doing this ranking caused me to go back to a couple of these that I hadn't in a little bit. So this was a very nice experience to dip back one more time and be able to talk about Amphibia on here.
Nice, yeah, definitely. It was fun. This was I was hoping for this sort of variety of picks, and it delivered in the Amphibia list. So thank you, guys. I was going to say that since we mentioned the other combinations, Matt did promo art for the Disney Plus release, and Sasha and Marcy are together in the art.
That is true, yeah.
Amazing.
So it's canon. Sorry to the other combinations.
Is that the ship you were hoping for out of curiosity, Dylan?
Well, it's the compliment to Spran, so yes, I'll say yes. It's like they're the Taka to the Spran Katang. So
all four be together.
I'm waiting for I'm waiting for that Marcy journal to come out to see if we get any shipping nuggets in there.
Ooh, yeah, because that's what happened with Gravity
yeah.
Falls is we got the Dipper Pacifica stuff after and like
Wait, really?
Yeah, it was like comics. Yeah, they
Wait,
had
they
like a whole
date? Or, like-
canon like romance thing.
No
I don't remember exactly what
freaking
they did,
way.
but
Oh
yeah.
my god.
So
Yeah,
there's precedent.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, all I'm waiting for this Marcy to be like, oh, but like Sasha's so cute in the soldier outfit she's got on.
I mean, yeah, Sasha's got big guns now. Who wouldn't be swayed by that?
I think it's gonna happen. I think it's happening. I mean,
I hope it's happening.
we'll see. I think that'd be the biggest curveball after.
That would
Is that
be a
the
big
least
curveball.
shipped of the three combo? Probably.
You see them interacting with police. I guess that's the only thing, right? But does it mean it couldn't happen? Yeah.
I've seen a lot of fan art.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're ready. Okay. So there you go. Let us know your thoughts on the Amphibia shipping. That was the Amphibia shipping podcast. But no, the rankings. That's right. Give us your top 10. What are the random season 1 episodes you would have put in your list? Whose list do you agree with? Although it's just personal rankings, so it's not a contest. And let us know all of this in the comments, wherever you're listening. Any final thoughts, Michelle or Alex?
No, I'm too tired, but I had a fun time.
Yes, this is
shout out to Olivia and Yuna, the actual gay canon ship in
They
there.
looked really good in the flash forward. Especially Olivia's outfit.
Their episode was in my
Union's
top
outfit,
25.
I mean. Yeah. Union's like big sleeves.
That's
like,
true.
oh, it's so hot.
Okay, interesting. So there you go. I was going to talk. Okay, I'm going to share myself. I was going to bring up Bellows, but no.
About being hot? I was going to ask you, Dylan, do you think Bellows is hot?
What happened recently? There was some.
Andrews is definitely hot, by the way.
Yes, and no question there.
Bellows and his. I remember Michelle on the podcast bringing up Bellows and his. Yeah, but when did that come up again?
I don't
recently?
know. I'm just asking.
I can't remember.
I'm afraid to get you involved in.
I said Caleb was hot. That's.
I mean, Caleb is very hot too.
Okay.
From what we've seen of him in the shadows of pictures.
I know. Yeah, from what we actually haven't seen. That's true. So maybe we'll see. Actually see. Okay. Support us via Patreon. That was the thing. At patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, especially our patrons of the podcast, Reshipu. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, Steve Michael and Phonishin.
Reshipu.
Wasn't the last episode's patron Cat's Ass or something?
Wow,
Cat's
they're getting
ass.
creative.
Some people put screen names, some people put names, or I don't know. I just
Okay, well, thanks to both of you for supporting these very important episodes.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't remember what we said. But there you go. Those are long. For you guys, it'll be 2 nice 90-minute segments, but less than that. But there you go. There's the rankings, and we will be back whenever Owl House. No word as of this recording, although we're gonna probably release these in a little bit as of when Owl House is coming back. So we'll see. And then Amphibia is always in our hearts. So there you go.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Ribbit, jump on in it.
Welcome to India.